Did you know that in the first 3 to 5 seconds of meeting someone new, they've already formed an opinion on you, possibly as someone who's very credible and confident, or alternatively, as maybe less intelligent and not so confident. Your presence can have a significant impact on the way that you are perceived and your brand. While perception and judgment are not necessarily fair, other people's perception is their reality. And if you were here last year, we all remember one of Carla Harris's power pearls is that perception is the co-pilot to reality. Since 1904, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, or RADA, has been training some of the world's greatest actors so they can get their big break on stage. When they recognize that much of what drives success on stage translates to success in the business world, RADA Business was born. Perhaps your own big break can be achieved by making a great first impression with the right person, moving a team of employees to action with an inspirational presentation, or delivering a dynamite message in the boardroom. What you say and how you say it can make or break both you and your message, depending on how others perceive the way you deliver it. Our next presenter is an expert in this space. She has 35 years of experience as an executive coach in the UK, Europe, Canada, and the United States, enabling clients to communicate with authority, authenticity, and impact. Her clients include Oscar nominees, politicians, CEOs, and presidents of international companies. Sheelagh McNamara is the co-designer and lead tutor for the RADA Executive Presence for Women course, and we're thrilled to welcome RADA to our event this year. You won't want to miss a minute of the breakout session with RADA that follows this talk. Please welcome Sheelagh as she speaks to us on building an executive presence.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. And thank you. And thank you for welcoming us. You're an organization with the most amazing energy. We've been very fortunate to work with 9 of your senior women over the last 2 days, working on executive presence with them. And they've taken so much away, and we hope they're going to spread this great news throughout Caterpillar. Back in the 1960s, a brilliant young woman won a place to Cambridge. Her name was Sylvia Ann Hewlett, now Dr. Sylvia Ann Hewlett. But Sylvia Hewlett came from the mining villages, from a very, very poor background, and she was the first person to have gone to university in her family. So you'd think that when you'd got there, you got to Cambridge, you're one of an elite number of students there, that you'd be fine, you've made it. But in fact, in the 60s, in the mid-60s, only 7% of the student population was female at Cambridge. So that was one sticky area. The second sticky area was that at the time when she got there, she discovered that her voice, her background, was in a complete minority. Now, as I said, she came from a really poor background, a background where there were few books in the house, where there was no expectation that you'd go to university, that you'd be successful. And she thought that being brilliant, being very clever, was enough to get her where she wanted to get once she left Cambridge. But when she was there, she realized that people didn't understand what she was saying very often. They didn't get her accent. Now, this is not about changing people's accents or changing who they are authentically, but we all have to adapt to what's around us and make really good decisions. So what she realized very quickly was that you can be brilliant, but and know so much inside, but if you have got no means of communicating that information to other people so that they hear you, they see you, they understand what you're saying, all that brilliance is locked up inside you and it's lost. Now, unbeknown to her at that time, this was the beginning the nascence of executive presence work that she's done masses of research into. She went on to become a Kennedy Scholar. She's a professor at Columbia, and she's an expert in gender and workplace organization and workplace issues. And she did some very substantial research in 2012, and that research was with 268 senior executives, actually looking at what they found was important. What was it that said that you had executive presence? And it came down to 3 major headings. This doesn't mean there wasn't an awful lot there as well, but we were just talking a moment ago in the introduction that we make an impression very, very quickly. I've made one on you, you making one on me at the moment. The people we worked with the other day, we all make quick decisions about. They're not necessarily right, but they are there. And what she realized was there were 3 major areas that senior executives looked at in terms of your executive presence. The first one was gravitas. How do I act? What's my demeanor like? If I had walked onto the stage, I suggest to you, like this, would I have any executive presence? What's wrong? Yeah, I don't look relaxed, I don't look confident, I'm contracting. So those things about your demeanor suggest how much gravitas you have. Of course, that's linked to job position, it's linked to your length of experience as well and what people say about you, but there is something straight away that connects or doesn't connect with you. So that was the first thing. How do I act? The second thing was our communication skills. Now that covers lots of things. It covers body language, it covers our voice, and in her case, she realized that her voice, her communication skills were really letting her down. And the final piece was, what do you look like? Your appearance. So those 3 things, gravitas, communication skills, and appearance, make an impression straight away. I don't know whether you've heard of this, but about 12 years ago, a man called Alexander Todorov, an assistant, at the time he was an assistant professor at Princeton, did some research into likability and attractiveness, and that then moved on into trustworthiness. And that research was done with a number of photographs, 66 photographs of people's faces. And looking at those photographs, people made really quick decisions. It was done with functional magnetic resonance imaging. It's that part of your brain that says, you're attractive, you're likable, I like you, you won't harm me at all. Lights up when we like people. How long do you think it takes for you to make that first impression? Do you say seconds? How many do you think? 2. Anyone got any advance or decrease on that? Less, absolutely. His research showed that we have 1/10 of a second. Can you believe it? 1/10 of a second, the blink of an eye, before our brain makes a decision about, he posits it goes back to sort of caveman sort of stuff, but whether you'll eat me, you won't eat me. That's what it was about to begin with. Now, whether I like you, I don't like you. Now, sure, unconscious bias is there. Unconscious bias. So if I remind you of your ex, very sadly, you ain't going to like me, whatever happens. So there are things that we've got to, you can't screen for this stuff at all. But it's really, really, really quick. So her research shows that gravitas accounts for 67% of how we assess you. Now, gravitas is very complex, and it has many headings to it. But in those initial few seconds, what we're looking at is, what's going on here? What am I doing? Can I take my space? Can I allow you all to look at me? This is a scary position to be in, isn't it? Let's face it, most of you would not like to be up here, under the spotlight, mic'd, with a lot of adrenaline going through, and keep your thoughts together. And that was another thing that she realized as well, or learned from these execs, which was your executive presence goes up when actually you're not bound to a script, when you're not trotting something out that you've learned verbatim, when you're not hanging on to notes all the time, when you can extemporize effectively with the audience as well. And that was one of the things that made a difference as well in your communication skills. But in the short period of time we've got together, I'd like to pass on a few techniques, a few tips that may help somebody in the room show up with that bit more confidence, that little bit more presence, that little bit more executive presence when they're in front of an audience or speaking at a big meeting. So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do is to get your bums on your seat, sit on your sit bones. So you're going to sit on your sit bones, your bum bones, and you're going to get your feet on the floor. Because this says what? I'm ready, I'm alert, I'm here. What does this say? With or without the sneer? But what does it say? I'm uninterested. Yeah, I'm a bit disengaged here, aren't I? How difficult is it to speak up? How difficult it is to get to your point over? And particularly if you're a woman with perhaps a less powerful voice in a meeting. But when I'm here, I'm on. Sure, you can do the alpha male. I'm here. Or I'm not going to do this on here, but going back from here as well. Sure, we can do that. But here I am. And I can actually do that as long as I haven't collapsed my diaphragm and my belly. I can still speak from here. The moment I do that, all bets are off. So here I am, feet on the floor. The next tip is make sure that your hands are always visible. So I know the people who are facing me, like the back of your tables, this is going to be easy for anyone else, it's much more difficult. So you may have to imagine this bit. But your hands are on the table. They're visible. We make gestures. We use gesture to reinforce things from here, don't we? So I'm here. My feet are on the floor. Could you from here, all of you, feet on the floor, can you uncross your legs? Yeah, that's it. Because that's what we do. And as women, we just cross our legs. And the odds are, if you cross your legs, your belly's going to get really tight. Your diaphragm can't contract. Your lungs can't expand. And you can't get any real power with your voice. You lose range, you lose power. So from here, could we all just say the days of the week here? Get your feet on the floor, sit on your sit bones. I'd like some energy here. A bit of all that energy that you have in Caterpillar, all that focus. Off we go. Monday. Wonderful, absolutely. Now, I'm going to invite you to do something else with that as well. You're going to use what we're going to call parallel palms, or the palms go down. So you've got some choices here. You get that gesture beloved of politicians. We get the one-handed chop. We get this one. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. We get the Clinton thumb. A bit of this going on. Women don't tend to do it very much, but men do. Please stay away from this. Doesn't work. And you get that sort of leveling gesture that goes on as well. So from here, sitting, feet on the floor, energy, keep your eyes alive. Let's take the days of the week with some palm position, either parallel or down. Off we go. 3, 2, 1. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Lovely. Now, did you notice that your pitch of your voice went down a little bit there? Yeah. Do something for me. Could you go into that sort of, I'm sitting on my one bum cheek and my head tends to tilt a bit, and I look a bit sort of like me, you know. I'm not quite sure here, but here I am, I'm listening. It is actually a place where people do a lot of active listening as well. So here I am. Could you now let your palms be open? Just let them be like palm up. And could we do the days of the week here? And I'd like you to notice what this sounds like. 3, 2, 1. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What does that sound like? Has it got any executive presence? Huh? None. Has it? Can I get you on your feet? Can you do it without talking? Wonderful, thank you. Feet are hip width apart. Let your knees be soft. You're going to use these gestures here. They're what we call cat gestures. So, from here, days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Do a bit of chopping, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Wonderful. Get your weight into one hip. This is how a lot of people stand when they're talking. Palms open. Notice your head probably wants to tilt to one side as well. I mean, I'm beginning to look a little less executive here, aren't I? So, palms open, days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Can you hear the difference? The difference is in that first piece, the gravitas piece, your body language. What's going on here? How I act. Get your feet back, hip width apart. And we're going to start here, and I'm going to call change. And when I call change, you're going to change from being this super cat here to being quite dog-like here. Okay? So let's try this. Off we go. Monday. Change. 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 Okay, have a seat. Have a seat. You can see what I mean, though, can't you? That when my body, in terms of executive presence, I mean, we're just sort of tipping, you know, hitting in the tip of the iceberg here. But when I'm like this, the message that I'm sending physically and vocally is less than executive. The moment I'm here, I'm sending you an entirely different message, aren't I? Yeah. Now, you'll notice that on your tables, you should have some corks. Have you all got a RADA cork? Our Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. Not the dark arts, the great arts. Cork here. In a moment, and please don't do it until I ask you to do it, you're going to pop this into your mouth and you're going to put it in by about that much. A centimetre. I'm not good on centimetres. Sort of a bit like half an inch, almost half an inch. And you're going to pop that into your mouth in a few moments. And together, sitting on your sit bones with your feet on the floor, because you've all just gone straight back to slouchy stuff, you're going to say the days of the week, followed by the months of the year, followed by counting from 1 to 15. And you're going to do it in unison. Because this cork is platinum for you in terms of knowing, of it really helping your diction, your volume, your articulation, everything this works for. It really is a platinum tool, this. The only thing is for a few of you, if you've got a small jaw, you might find, this has not sadly been in a bottle of wine, so you might find that the cork's a bit wide here. It's a great excuse to go home and say, Sheelagh said I need to buy a really great bottle of wine, French wine, with a cork in it. Okay, so you're going to pop this into your mouth, sit on your sit bones, feet on the floor, and we're going to say the days of the week, followed by the months of the year, followed by counting to 15. And then at the end of that, you will notice, don't put it in yet, didn't say go. So you'll notice that you fill up with saliva. drooling is not your best look. So you're going to take it out of your mouth, you get cork out of your mouth, you're going to swallow the drool, you're going to swallow your saliva, and then all together on my count of 3, you're going to say the days of the week without the cork in your mouth. I want you to notice what it feels like, what it sounds like for you. Sure, there's a difference, cork in, cork out, but it doesn't actually take that much room in your mouth. Okay, we ready to go? Wonderful. Cork in the mouth, sit on your sit bone, feet on the floor, some energy, and off we go, and some gesture as well. Monday. January, February.
June, July, August, September, October, November, December.
Carry on counting. 1, 2. Can you get some range? Think about some volume, some range. 7, 8, 9, 10. Now string it out a bit. 13, 14, 15. Carry on to 20. 16. 18, 19, 20. Wonderful. Take the cork out. Don't talk. Swallow. No talking. And now, days of the week. Off we go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What could you hear? What could you feel? Can you call out? Yeah, your enunciation. What else? Clarity. Could you feel that you've got more space in your mouth? Yeah, like your tongue suddenly was working. This is a wonderful exercise for volume. Let's face it, put the cork in your mouth. For most of you, no, I don't mean, I meant, sorry. If we put our cork in the mouth, you put the cork in your mouth, then what happens is your jaw is held more open, so you can get more volume. For all the people who find it difficult to project, this is a fabulous exercise. For those people who swallow their words, the ends of sentences that fade away, who swallow their words, their diction is indistinct. For any of you who speak English as a second language, and there are certain words that you find difficult, this is great for practicing over and over again a word, and then take the cork out, and your mouth will fly. You know, you've all heard those stories, and maybe some of you have done it. You've been in the army, you've been training in the forces, and what do? To get you to be really fit and active and healthy, they get you to put a backpack on, a heavy, heavy backpack, and you run along the beach, along in water, and it's grueling, and it's tough, and it's hard. This isn't that hard. But it's the same concept. It's like the gym for your mouth. So here's the deal. Here's what I suggest you do. You go home, and you never do this in front of young children, by the way. I do not want to be sued. And do not do it in the car. Don't practice in the car either. If you get rear-ended, I will not be culpable of this. So you put the cork in the mouth. You speak that presentation you've got to give, something that you need to say at a meeting that's bothering you, something you really need to get out, you need to be seen and heard speaking. You practice with the cork in your mouth. If you don't have either of those things, a poem you loved as a kid, the newspaper, a piece of newspaper, a book, it doesn't matter what it is, but speak it with the cork in your mouth until you find that you've filled up with saliva like you did before. You take it out, you swallow, you speak for maybe 20 seconds or so until you go, I think I've got that. You take the cork out of your mouth, you speak again, you hear this lovely clarity of your voice, and then when you feel it drifting away, you cork yourself. And you speak again with the cork in your mouth, and you do that on and off for about 2 minutes. Sylvia Ann Hewlett, or Dr. Hewlett, says that the most important of those three things, the gravitas, the communication skills, and your appearance, she ascribes most importance to your communication skills. She talks about the communication skills being the gateway to executive presence. It's been lovely to talk to you, and I hope you're going to come and enjoy the masterclasses that both my colleague Lisa Orkerson and myself are going to give in about 10 minutes, I think, as soon as I get this off. And we look forward to going into more depth into some of this work. Thank you.